Good evening. Village of Homer Glen Plan Commission meeting of August 5th is called to order. Can we have Commissioner Foley lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Mr. Chairman, Gia will be here shortly. She went to make copies.
Say that again?
Gia will be here shortly.
Oh,
Yeah, she went to make copies. So.
she was just there.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for Gia, anyone who wishes to speak tonight, make sure they please sign in on the sheet by the door, and then we'll swear people in after Gia calls the roll. Thank you.
Okay.
Gia, as soon as you're ready, if you could please call the roll. I didn't notice you wandered away. Okay,
That's right.
that's good.
I forgot my keys.
You need- Sure, yeah, sure.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh, yeah, Kim.
Ready? Sorry. Member Foley,
Here.
Chairman Kozer,
Here.
Member McGarry. Here. Member Stanley.
Here.
Member Verdon. Member Hand.
Here.
Members Rubchin.
Here. Thank you.
Yeah, keep it. That's fine.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on items that are not listed on our agenda tonight that are related to matters concerning the Plan Commission? Seeing none, could we have Gia swear in anyone who is wishing to speak tonight? If you'd like to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand and say "I do" after Gia's prompting.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Okay, and are you all signed in? Yes.
Are there any material changes to the July 15th, 2021 minutes?
Yeah, simple one. On page 3, just the number after 5,000, it has an extra 0, just needs to be corrected.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Is there a motion to approve the minutes of July 15, 2021 with the changed number value?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Foley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Stanley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight, 1 old business and 1 new business. For the old business, case number HG 2111 PS, we are still in public hearing. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, open.
So the public hearing is open. We continued this meeting from the last, was it July? The beginning of July?
June 17th.
June 17th. Could you please update us on the case so
Yes,
far?
definitely. So this case was started in June 17th, and the public hearing was continued after listening to the public testimony. And we'll go through the specific requests from the Plan Commission from that meeting. So the Plan Commission stated the applicant will submit revised site plans with access items addressed, a tree preservation plan with restitution or replacement outlined, enhanced elevations of the homes, pond landscaping and screening plans for privacy for this proposed subdivision. So I'll go through each one of them as one at a time. So this being a planned unit development, one of the items is in the staff report. You'll see various exceptions to the bulk requirements on page, I believe it's page 3 of the staff report. So the applicant is looking for direction or confirmation from the Plan Commission, because that wasn't really discussed or addressed at the last meeting, just to make sure you're okay with the exceptions requested. So that's, I guess, as part of your discussion, he needs direction on that one as part of the PUD plan that is submitted. So the project engineer is going to go through the specific changes made to it. As you can see, there's an outlet created right up front, and they took out 1 building in the middle, so they're down 2 buildings overall. That's something the project engineer will go through as part of their presentation. On the outlet, staff requested that the developer work with the neighboring PUD owner and come to an agreement regarding the cross-access easement. In fact, our site plan requires that cross-access be maintained or granted, and also to encourage frontage roads along arterial roads. So that kind of applies to this situation where they need to work on the cross-access easement to facilitate traffic and to continue the frontage road. So that's something, the applicant is going to give an update on that, cross-access situation. The tree, let me see what the next slide is. Yeah, the tree preservation plan, Melissa did extensive review of the tree survey submitted, and you can see the summary on page 2 of the staff report, where they would need, so they just briefly, the total inches to be saved is 753. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's on the screen too. So just going by the code, the restitution fee for significant trees would be $36,300, and for the protected trees, it'll be $13,000. And you can see the summary on the screen as well as in the staff report on page 2. And in addition, the applicant submitted an updated landscape plan showing the proposed screening to Country View Subdivision. And staff is requesting to add additional screening in the gaps because there's opportunity to add more, trees in the gaps. That's part of the staff recommendation in the report. And the pond landscaping is part of the, shown on the grading, not the grading plan, but actually in the landscape plan. So staff made some suggestions to improve our managing the Prairie mix, and also to kind of group all the beds together so they can be better maintained or weeded or mulched. And staff also recommended to add canopy or overstory or large native shrubs throughout the Prairie. So that's part of the pond landscaping. So with that, and also the last item is elevations. So this is what is proposed by the applicant, and staff is requesting the Plan Commission to review this, and also there are some samples that are in front of you, kind of showing distinctive architectural styles, and we shared that with the applicant, with the developer. So staff recommendation is to come up with more distinctive styles, especially because they're modeling this after Evelyn's Gate subdivision. So we'd like to see more distinctive style to keep up the value of this property as well as to protect the neighboring subdivision. So I think those are some of the highlights from the last meeting. And there are two people from the Country View subdivision who couldn't make it tonight. So there are two emails in front of you. One is from Jay Whittle. The other one is from Jody Azulin. Just for the record, they're in front of you. There would be additional public testimony tonight. So, Mr. Chairman, it's your wish. You want the applicant to go through the changes before the public testimony, or however you want to do it?
Yes, please. We'll have the petitioner come forward, tell about the changes, and then I think we might have a small discussion with the plan commissioners, and then open up to public hearing to see if we even want to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Because we might want to keep it open again.
Okay.
Good evening. After last June's meeting, the trees certainly became a major focus, and we went back and tried to do everything we could to accommodate as many trees as we could. We went and we walked the site with staff and the arborist.
Is your microphone on?
Is that better?
Yes.
Sorry. We walked the site with the arborist from the village as well as village staff. We've made some modifications to the plan. As you can see, the significant changes are we moved the sidewalk to be adjacent to the street as opposed to having a parkway in between, which allowed us then to move the buildings further east, which then got us to basically move the building pads and the construction site outside of the drip line of the trees that we're trying to save. On BJ's slide that he showed you earlier with the variances, there was one mistake. On this slide, it shows that the setbacks are 15 feet, but the one slide he showed you a minute ago said 25, and that was one of the changes. The only other change of significance was trying to accommodate Dr. Glen's road access. We've taken that outlot A and positioned it adjoining the current cross easement agreement that is on his property to be in line with our property and to give it a buffer yard behind it as well. Also, one of the comments previously was the walking path to go around the lake. People were concerned that they would get too close to their residences, so we eliminated that and just put it on the east side. Staff is requesting that we change the plantings, types, and location, and we'll be happy to do that as well. I think that's it.
One question I have is, so the cross-access agreement hasn't been completed?
No.
Is it, because it's required?
We are, there's two options basically that we haven't presented. The landowner, the current landowner, has presented to Dr. Glen, and one is that he buys the property, then the easement goes away, or two, he buys rights to an easement. We buy it then, and the homeowners association takes over that piece of property and cuts it and maintains it. And when he wants to put his road in, he would just have the access through the easement to put his road on that property. But it would be maintained and owned by the homeowners association.
So to go to village board, that cross-access agreement has to be in place.
Okay?
And so, you know, as a part of our discussion tonight, if that cross-access agreement is not in place, we might not be able to make a motion for this, because that was one of the requirements that we were requesting to come back to this meeting for. And the other question I had is, staff had recommended that more architectural elevations be presented that were more in line with the subdivision that you are proposing to match with the square footage and the smaller size single-family houses. And you didn't bring back any additional elevations?
No, we did. The elevations that you have here are new. They are not substantially, maybe different.
So those on the screen right now?
Yes.
So the ones that are copywritten, so we couldn't put them in the plan hearing, are more of the line of the model and design that staff was looking for. And I don't know why, if that wasn't communicated properly, but that is something that needs to be addressed as well.
And I've seen those, and unfortunately, I think the CAD program that my architect is working with is substantially less beautiful as the one that you've got there in front of you. So I have to reevaluate how we're going to do the drawings to make them look better. Because our intent is to build with high quality features and design elements. So we will have that.
Okay. Before we go to the public hearing, do any of the commissioners have anything to ask the petitioner?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, Tom. So the front setbacks is 15 feet?
And I think 8 of the 12 units. And you can see if you line up the site plan, it's kind of hard because it's so small, but there is for example, the furthest to the right or the north, you can see they kind of, as you go south, the buildings kind of move east. And that's what we're doing, that is to get away from that tree line.
Then moving the sidewalk out, so then what is the distance from the houses to the sidewalk? Like, in other words, the length of the driveways?
25 feet, 25. Typical, you know, to be able to park a car and not have it stick out into the sidewalk.
Okay. I mean, the other question I had looking at this, now there's a retaining wall on the east side of the street.
So that retaining wall was always on the plan. Purpose for the wall is because the road needs to align so close to the existing property line, and yet we need to maintain drainage down to the pond. So as the road drops down towards the pond, the grade's actually going up off-site. So we've added some notes to that. The one main note that we added to the plan was that the development to the east of us, when that property develops, they'll have to remove that retaining wall within the right-of-way and regrade the property. So when they come in there and they add the sidewalk on their side and whatever utilities and make a roadway connection wherever the village dictates the roadway connection needs to go, as part of their work on their development, they will have to remove, at least we're suggesting that they should have to remove that retaining wall then within the public right-of-way. The section of the wall that falls on the outlet where the detention pond, that could stay, but we feel that it's important that the village make that contingent that when that property develops, that that wall comes out of the right-of-way. But we need to do it now unless we could get a construction easement from the adjacent property owner, which we haven't had any success at speaking with that owner yet. So the only way we can make the grading work is if we transition it with that wall.
So the wall is above or below the street level?
The road's below the wall, so the wall goes up.
And about how high?
It's never exceeds 3 feet. Most of it's 2 feet,
And it's literally right at the curb?
right at the back of the curb.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
Just clarifying, the new ones, this is the style houses that they've changed from, because the picture you had before was the old one, right?
No, that picture, I don't know,
No, that's an example we gave, we showed them, yeah,
I
sure.
just want to be clear, that's all. That's all. Okay.
Yeah, the ones that staff presented to us are the desirable
Okay.
looks that they have yet to present.
Okay.
much better software program.
So seeing no other questions, we'll open it up to the public, and then we'll have more discussion after that. Do we have a list? VJ?
Is public comment open to 3 minutes?
I don't know if I want to be as restrictive. We just ask that, we have the list of public comments from the last meeting. It's okay to repeat, but not to go into length. We want to talk about new things that have come up that have not been addressed and on public record. So with that, Gina Delahira?
No, I'm going to be speaking today. I spoke last time.
Okay, thank you. Sharon Swees?
Thank you. Good evening. I've been on the Environment Committee as a member, chair, and co-chair since 2008, and it is really sad to see such a densely wooded area being destroyed, and with some of the trees over 100 years old, by a developer who just wants to do that because he wants to put in as much as he can with tiny lots, small houses, and may or may not plant stick trees instead of these 100-year-old trees. There is page after page here outlining all the removal of these trees: bur oaks, red oaks, spruce trees, hickory shagbarks, white Austrian pines, black cherry pears, elms, and even more. These are not trees that are just a few inches in diameter. And I guess we better start changing our motto, because nature in harmony is something, it's not important anymore. And the grid also resembles a city block. It's just a straight line, bunch of houses, just pack them down straight down the line. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Kraus?
Good evening. I just have some notes. I'll just read through them. I've got several concerns. Economically, the proposed development's not in conformance with the general nature of the existing Country View Estates, nor the Crystal Drive subdivision. I don't know if Crystal Drive has a specific name, but that's the one immediately to the east, maybe 100 feet, or 1,000 feet, so. CBE consists of large custom-built homes on large lots. Seven Oaks is proposing much smaller tract homes on smaller lots, resulting in significantly higher density. The Seven Oaks lots are 50% smaller. The homes are approximately 50% smaller. These differences will mean significantly lower prices in the proposed development, resulting in lower CBE property values. There's 47 homes within CBE. Using Zillow in August of 2021, the average price in CBE was $541,000. The average square footage, $3,377. It gives you a calculated dollars per square foot of about $165. The proposed Seven Oaks, based on what we were told last time, estimated price $350,000 to $450,000. That their proposed home area is 1,800 square foot. To hit their price point of $350,000, they need $195 per square foot. $400,000, $220 per square foot. $450,000, they need $250 per square foot. Okay? If the market will only support the CBE price at $163, that puts the price at $295. I'm not a realtor. I don't know what it's really going to support, but I'm hard pressed to believe that they're going to be at $250 a square foot, and we're at $165. Okay? If the market only supports the CBE pricing, that puts them at $295, which is $246,000 below CBE. For additional comparison, I found the information on 10 units on the adjacent Crystal Creek Drive. They're very similar to CBE. Their average price is $518,000, 3,636 square feet, for an average price of $143 per square foot. Besides economic, environmental concerns, this development cut down a significant number of existing trees from the property being proposed for variance. Many of these trees are extremely large and are irreplaceable for generations. The small lot size and the resulting high density of the development has severely limited the preservation of significant heritage-type trees. Of the trees surveyed and deemed worthy of retention by the arborist, the development would remove and destroy, of the oaks, 1 at 52 inch, 2 at 41 to 43, 4 at 36 to 37, 6 at 29 to 34, and 5 at 18 to 26. Of the optional trees, 25 oaks, 10 to 37 inches are gone, 3 spruces, 17 to 20, 3 hickories, 12 to 17, and 1 black walnut at 12 inches, gone. These trees, beyond the environmental impact, are fundamental to our village and neighborhood identity. Once they're gone, the area is irreversibly impacted for our generations. Our village motto is community and nature in harmony. It would be incomprehensible to imagine allowing removals of this magnitude, not even considering the lasting negative impact on our lifestyle and property values. The rebranding of this development as Seven Oaks strikes me personally as a distasteful marketing ploy considering the planned removals. The ordinance for the single-family residence was to provide for single-family dwellings on smaller lots characterized by significant amounts of open space and the preservation of environmentally sensitive areas through appropriate subdivision design. The open space is only available due to the removal of significant trees. Given the tree removal proposed, preservation of environmentally sensitive areas appears minimal at best. In summary, I'm opposed to the requested zoning variance. The reduced lot size results in too high of a density. This drives the small home square footage as well as the inability to mitigate the excessive tree removal currently planned. The level of tree removal is too high and unacceptable. The smaller homes are priced significantly lower than both CBE and Crystal Drive, even assuming the builder hits their target pricing. In the event that the actual achieved pricing is in line with the dollars per square foot values currently showing for CBE and Crystal Drive homes, the actual unit pricing will be drastically lower than anticipated. The proposed standards for the home appear to be much less than those incorporated into the CBE and Crystal Drive custom-built homes. The homes and lots need to be larger, upgraded, and in line with the existing adjacent homes. Further, I'm opposed to the PUD exemption requested as it seeks to make a comparison to the Evelyn's Gate development. This is a flawed comparison, as Evelyn's Gate is bordered by multi-unit housing structures, not single-family homes. Consequently, claiming that Evelyn's Gate has created a precedent is without merit. The proposed development does not conform to and would irreversibly alter the general nature of both CBE and Crystal Drive. This is exactly why we have zoning ordinances in place, to protect the character and value of our homes, neighborhood, and village. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Kraus? Denise Ducey?
First of all, very well said, Tim. Thank you. It's incomprehensible to me that we're looking at those elevation of those single-family homes packed into those very tight lots. When you look at the Country View Estates, we had 3 homes sell since December. 500 over like 590, I believe the one, 595, 490, and 475. Those were all over 3,500 square foot on beautiful lots. Our subdivision is comparable to Crystal Creek, is that what we're calling it? And what you're asking us to swallow are these tract homes that look nothing like Evelyn's Gate. Nothing. In addition, VJ was very helpful today when I spoke to him because I still had the same concerns I did last meeting, and they haven't been addressed. Carroll Drive running all the way to the east will connect Crystal Creek subdivision, this joke 7 Oaks. Is it because they're saving 7 Oaks? Is that what the new name is for? I can't understand how you come up with 7 Oaks when you're destroying so many of the beautiful trees. But the impact on the traffic, as VJ had mentioned on that June 17th meeting, was 134 traffic for 12 houses. Now you connect Carroll Drive all the way to the east to Crystal Creek. That's what, 20 houses in that subdivision minimally? I'm not sure, I didn't go over there and count. And then you develop those other 2 parcels that will connect Carroll Drive. VJ explained that to kind of circumvent the traffic and maybe discourage people from going from South Bell, where our Mother of Good Counsel is, all the way east on Carroll Drive, that the road would meander, if you will. I still don't believe that the people that live in Crystal Creek and the other parcels that will be developed will mind meandering to get to South Bell and come through all the subdivision where we have small children at play. I'm surprised some of our younger homeowners aren't here tonight to address the safety of the children in our subdivision. I'm just shocked at it. Perhaps they're just not comprehending how this will change their child's life. The other issue I'd like to address is I still haven't gotten a clear answer on the pond that will then naturally go into the pond that 4 of us homeowners have to maintain. Bottom line is, what is our recourse? After the developer is long gone, and we now have flooding in our backyards from the other retention pond, where we have issues with getting out of our subdivision to Bell, which is already very crowded. Tonight when my husband and I came to the meeting, we have one way out. and that is through Country View, where they put a commercial development along with a restaurant with inadequate parking. There were 8 cars parked on Country View almost to the stop sign. People do not adhere to the parking rules, so we get to come out of our subdivision right now with 8 cars overflow from a commercial business that has evening hours, and now we're thrilled to have a new restaurant there, but once again, where was the thought process in the number of parking spaces for the commercial and restaurant? So as Country View Estate residents, we're supposed to deal with that increase of traffic and those cars lined up into the subdivision, our entrance. What's our recourse? Do we come back to you in 2 years' time after this subpar trek home? What's our recourse? It's truly a question, and no one has yet to be able to answer that for us. We pay extremely high taxes, and I just can't imagine someone coming into the Seven Oaks subdivision paying taxes on an 1,800 square foot home with that small of a lot. And I think that's it. So thank you for your time. VJ, thank you for your time on the phone. I did not hear back from the engineer regarding the flowage into our pond. I'm still not clear on how access to our residents and our pond that we're responsible for is going to be derailed, if you will. You know, the plantings are lovely, and I'm happy about native grass, but I'm not happy about removal of all the trees. But I'm still not clear how people will not get into our pond area that we're liable for.
Sure. Do you want the petitioner to respond to that, Mr. Chairman?
I thought he addressed it pretty well last time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glen Nisvosia?
Just I'm going to be referencing that, so you guys get a copy of that. Okay, that's a copy that I took from the village's website of the comprehensive plan. And the first thing I would draw your attention to is page 12, the second page in that 3-page handout. And so, as a goal for the comprehensive plan residential housing, a housing stock and living environment that serve the needs and desires of local residents, attract new families to the community, and enhance the countryside character and environmental quality of the village. If you just read through the first 6 items of those objectives, pretty simply stated, maintain Homer Glen as primarily a low-density, single-family residential community. Retain large lot character of residential areas. Lot sizes of 1/2 acre and larger should continue to predominate. Permit smaller lot residential developments in selected areas, provided they are characterized by generous open spaces and conservation design and are compatible with nearby existing residential developments. Consider a limited amount of high quality and compatible new townhomes and multifamily housing in a few selected locations. Resident ownership should be strongly encouraged. Number 5, manage moderate residential growth so that this is consistent with the capacity of public facilities, services, infrastructure to serve the new development. And number 6, protect residential areas from encroachment of incompatible land uses and the adverse impacts by nearby non-residential uses. So that's where my problem with the whole development arises. VJ, could you, I don't know, is that the only picture that you have that shows the front is that small depiction on that plan right there.
Or looking at the elevations, or?
No, just from the plan itself. If not, that's okay. So if you look at the corner of where my property, now I've owned my property since 2005, and currently I pay $28,000 a year for that property. I've paid in property taxes well over $350,000 in the last 16 years. Number one, this is going to significantly reduce the value of my property, even with the single lot cross-access easement. Now, Mr. Parakis is not here. However, on July 27th, last week, he sent me an Outlot A proposal, A and B. The first, as Tom summarized, was that they would grant me the easement. They came up with a number that was what they call a benefit to me. I don't even understand what this is. Mr. Parakis was out of town until Friday. He told me he'd call me back. I never heard from him. So it says here, benefit to Glen Oaks, my PUD, 15-unit commercial development. I don't know what that means, per unit, equals $10,000 for a total cost of $150,000. So I think what he's trying to say there is that they're really valuing this 87-foot wide, 10,000 square foot lot at $150,000. But they're so nice to me that they're going to select, maybe influence me to say, take option B, which would be an outright purchase of parcel A, 87 by 117 feet, 10,214 square foot, for $105,000. That's over $10 a square foot for nothing that's going to be green space and the cross-access easement, which they're obligated to give me. They want me to pay $105,000. Are they serious? And I never heard from Mr. Parakis, the owner of the property, after he emailed me this. So, now, on that plan, you can see on the property to the east of Pete's property, the front part that is commercial goes back 400 feet. Now, if you live in this village for as long as I have, you know there's spots in this village where you drive down the road and you go, what the hell were they thinking when they let that happen, or when they let that happen? This is one of those, and you guys better know it. You drive down, and where I live in Hidden Valley Estates, the Leoponases had to give a significant setback to that property in front that's open, right? It's 400 feet deep, just like that one is, because someone on a planning commission 20 years ago knew, hey, this place is growing. We better have our heads out of our butts and know what's going on. You drive down Bell Road at 159th Street, would any of you buy the house whose swimming pool is on the sidewalk on the south side of 159th Street at Bell Road? And when you go past that, you go, who let them 25 years ago or 30 years ago? Didn't they know this was going to explode? Didn't they see Orland Park? Do you think the village of Orland Park would let this float? In Tinley and Orland Hills, over at 171st and LaGrange, they had that whole farm. Yes, they are building small, low-density housing, but where are they putting it? In a specific spot big enough to incorporate it, with open space, leaving the front open a significant amount, 7-acre lots parceled in front of that, so that they do mix them together in a way that works for both of them. This property is just too damn small. There's just no two ways about it. This has been an irrational plan. I think the village was misguided in leading Mr. Catchy on to think that this was going to work. I don't get it. I don't know who's responsible for that at the village, but this does not work. It hasn't worked from day one. And I feel sorry for him, because you know what? He's spending money. Nobody cares about the developer spending money. But this is wrong. And if you guys don't see this and you pass this on to the village, this is going to get worse. You are going to look like fools, because they're going to come to you and say, what the hell are they doing at that planning commission? Are you serious? This does not work. VJ, can you post those pictures for me of Evelyn's Gate?
Oh, no.
You want to talk about
They have it in front of them.
variances? Oh, we can't put those on the screen?
No, we'd have to add them to the slides. Can we?
They have them in front of them.
Yeah, but these people don't.
I'm sorry?
These people
It's
don't.
the public to see them. I can email them to you, but you'd have to get them on the slide and put them.
Well, let's just suffice it to say, if anybody has not driven through the north part of Evelyn's Gate subdivision, where they're comparing the variance requests for this project, they are apples and oranges. They are not similar in any way, shape, or form. My wife and I drove over there today. I've never been back in Evelyn's Gate. I go over there, I'm looking at, how the hell would they do that? Even 15 years ago, when they weren't thinking ahead, which is what a planning commission is supposed to do, think ahead. If you can look at those pictures, those small lots have a backyard alley. That's like Chicago. All the two-car garages are in the back alley. And yes, you pull up along the front of the houses, oh, that's a really pretty house, really sharp-looking house, really nice lawn, really landscaped. And you drive around, and you go, how did they get to their garages? And you turn the corner, you go, oh my God, an alley. The alley's wider than the street, and two-car garages there, and there's parking in the back. There's a person sitting 20 feet off the back alley. My wife and I started laughing. I go, there's a hot tub, and there's a guy sitting right there. Literally, there was 4 arborvitaes, 8 feet of grass, and his garage, and a little tiny side yard, and they put a hot tub there. And they were sitting there. I go, this is weird. But yeah, you go around the other side, and there's the fronts of the houses, and it looks beautiful. And if you can see that one picture, so I took a couple angle pictures. You can see the driveway there. I'm sure you guys have all been through Evelyn's Gate, right? Everybody? So you look at that, and how that ended up on this paper to be a reasonable contrast, I don't get. You look at that, and across the street from these lovely houses on small lots, densely placed, is a giant park with a gazebo and a playground for the kids and a giant lake with a walking trail around it. Yeah, it's great. And behind that is a farm out to 159th Street. That's probably about, 20 acres with little stubbed in dead ends right there. That's all you can go. That someday, the next planning commission, when somebody comes along and wants to put a subdivision there or a commercial project there, is going to go, you can't infringe on those people's residential properties. I went through this. I went through this with all these guys from Country View Estates. And I built a building that's beautiful. It cost a fortune. Just so that I would not impose a commercial influence on their property values. And I have 3 more acres to build on in my PUD. And I still want to do the same thing. Maintain that high-end quality of a building that you go by, and I'm proud every time I go by that. That looks really nice. It's not a strip mall, it's a commercial development. Hell, you wouldn't even know an Anytime Fitness would fit in there, but to let you know, they're a prospering business and doing very well, and it works. And so now, we have this 400 acres where that property line, if you were to extend that back, that comes to lot 4 on this plan. But to appease me, I got option A and option B to take out lot A, which was generously valued at $150,000, but they'll let me have it for $105 if I'm a nice, quiet guy, I guess. But I'm not. And so, if you looked at that on the map, the 400-foot back commercial setback goes to lot 4, through lot 4. Now, do you think somebody, now listen, people will buy a house anywhere. I'm convinced of it. Right next to a highway. Between 294 and 355, somebody put a house there, somebody will buy it. But when that gets subdivided out or developed commercially, and maybe it's a medical center or it's an insurance company or who the hell knows what else it could be. We don't know, right? Because that's the future. But when those houses are sitting there, and lot number 1 will have my pre-approved parking lot behind them. I don't care how many arborvitaes you put up, it's still going to be a parking lot, and we're still going to need lights in the parking lot. And then lot number 2, same thing, You can see my property line there, where we have a public easement for the drainage and gas lines that are back there in that far corner. I don't know if anybody went by there today. I had the whole thing mowed down, and you can see the back. Now, the village called me and said, hey, you're gonna cut that grass over there? I said, sure, I'll cut the grass, because it's natural. But no, now, every one of those backyards is wide open to 159th Street. Their land sits down a little bit. Everybody can see right into their backyards, but that's what the village wanted, so it's okay. So I complied. And the noise coming off 159th Street, it even used to buffer the noise a little bit, not anymore. But if you look at that and say, wait a minute, we have to take out these first, not these first 4 lots, Lot A, and the first 4 lots, which is what would line up with that 400-foot deep commercial property. Does everybody see that? That's where that is.
Yeah, that's, it's just a part of the comprehensive plan. It's not, it's zoned for it, but it's not a part of it. Do you have anything else to add? You're at 13 minutes.
Well, I don't know, is anybody in a hurry to go home? I do have a couple more things. So my first question is IDOT. When is this development subject to review by IDOT?
I think BJ has to answer that.
So that's something the project engineer need to coordinate with IDOT as part of the final engineering.
Okay, so does it leave this planning commission and then go to the village, or does that happen before it goes to the village?
So even if the village board approves it, and we have done this before, like with Shorewood project, it's always subject to final engineering and approval by IDOT. All the access points are subject to final engineering as well as IDOT approval.
Okay. So here's my point. I asked you earlier because I saw it on the map, but I couldn't tell. So there is a median break at this entry of this road coming into the proposed subdivision. It is really offset. To my eye, it does not end up in the middle of that median cut. The left-hand turn lane coming back out to 159th Street. Now, it might be splitting hairs, but I've dealt with IDOT before. They don't bend. They don't bend an inch, let alone 10 feet or 4 feet. So I think, again, people should not be led to believe they're going to be able to do something that have hardly a chance to get approved by IDOT, who's going to tell the village, like, we're not approving that. And Tom and Pete went all through this time and money all the time and really have no chance in hell of getting this thing done. So with that, I'll close with that, and all I can say is that it's a mistake. It was a mistake on day one. The village should have seen that. They should have said, Pete, we're really sorry you bought this property. We're really sorry. But this doesn't work. It's just how it is. So in closing, I strongly oppose the approval of this development in its current form, and to do so would be a huge mistake. That's my opinion.
Thank you. We've got Tom down. I'm sure that's just why you had to sign in. Scott, he's with. Did someone else sign in late that wanted to speak? Please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Shirley Ambutis. I'm directly behind by Mary Ellen Hoy. And our concern...
I'm sorry, can you spell your last name?
Yes, Ambutis, A-M-B-U-T-A-S.
And your address?
12400 Country View Lane.
Did you get the
I'm
address?
sorry, I need to swear you in. Did you?
Oh, I'll swear in.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Just say I do at the end of the end of the statement. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but.
I swear to tell the truth and the whole truth.
God.
So help me God. Okay, so I'll tell the truth.
And did you get the address, Gia? Because I did not.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Our big concern is, again, the property values. We want to maintain property values. We want to maintain the trees. I think, as said, the builders spent a lot of time with plans and landscape architects and such. Could we consider at this date that maybe 2 multi-million-dollar homes be placed back there? Couldn't something to that effect would then appease us? I think looking at the property value, we want to maintain open spaces, open places, the whole philosophy of Homer Glen. Could that be considered at this late date? So I'm just putting that out on the table. I think no one would be opposed to, homes that would be on bigger acreage and have more value, similar to the Country View Estates properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the audience that'd like to speak at this time? Before we close the public hearing, I guess we can have an extended discussion to determine if we want to keep the public hearing open to another date or time. We'll go and talk with the different commissioners. If someone wants to start, ask any questions, have any discussions.
I'll start if nobody else does.
I think I heard a question about the emails. Is that what someone said? Did somebody say that, the emails? Yes. You want to hear the emails? Yes. Do we need to do that first, Brian?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read them.
First email is from Dr. J. Whittle. To whom it may concern, I am a current homeowner in Country View Estates. I have concerns with the proposed variance for the property adjacent to the east of our subdivision. I believe that my concerns are in line with the concerns of Homer Glen as a whole. I would like to see continued development within the mission of the Homer Glen Incorporation, community and nature in harmony. If we adhere to this principle, it seems that the proposed development with the vastly increased density is not a true representation of that plan. This property is long and narrow and adjacent to the forest preserve. I have concerns that a high-density development will be detrimental to the community. We all want to see high-quality homes, even villas, as our residents downsize, but they should be developed with a definitive village plan. Smaller lots and homes should not be thrown into the community, hit or miss, based on a developer's wish to get their money out of an awkward piece of property that is not conducive to multiple home development. I think that it's important that the village represent their residents first and foremost. Thank you. And the second email was, hi, I am out of, this was sent to somebody on their behalf, but he says, I am out of town and just read your email. As a homeowner looking to sell in the next year, I am concerned that this new subdivision may devalue all our properties. In addition, losing those majestic trees seems a steep price to pay for some tract homes. What about having homes that mimic the look and size of ours, maybe 5 or 6 home sites? Sorry I can't attend. Seems these meetings occur when I'm out of town.
Yeah, that was Jody Eslin.
Cool. Yes. Yes. Yep. Okay, thank you. And that was from Jody Azalin.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. I do want to see development of this type in Homer Glen. Keep our empty nesters like me from leaving Homer Glen. Expand the type of housings available. But there's better places for it. If someone went in with a proposal for housing on this property that complied with our standards, I would have to consider it, even though those trees are so gorgeous. But because this property would be so compromised by this proposal, I cannot see consideration of so many variances. And I really don't have anything else.
Thank you. Ms. Suisse, can I ask you a couple questions at the mic? I think you will. Are you still on the environmental committee?
No, not for the last 2 months.
But you were a part of writing the tree ordinance?
Yes, we worked on it to revise it and to up it, yes.
So I was personally surprised how inexpensive the tree ordinance was as a replacement value in our code for this amount of trees to be replaced.
Right. This has been an ongoing fight with some of the previous board because we wanted to strengthen, increase the pricing, increase the diameters of the tree, and we also wanted to bring down, you know, like instead of 5 acres, we wanted to bring that down to an acre, acre and a half, or any buildable lot that it would be affected by. We've had joint meetings with Plan Commission, not Plan Commission, Environment Committee and board members. This is going back a couple of years, and it just became a standstill, basically. We've worked on it for the last umpteen years, and it seemed like they were afraid to get stricter on it for reasons like, oh, you know, we don't want to stifle things, but then we don't, you know, on the same viewpoint, you're destroying things. So, I mean, this has been going on. I've had Environment Committee members quit because they got so disgusted at going back and forth so many times. But it was always, that was our main thing, increase the cost of, you know, the inches and bring down to an acre or any buildable lot how it would affect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It seems like this, you know, I just have a couple comments before I open back up. Like I said, I was surprised at the actual cost to replace the 700 inches of trees that are of legend, what was the term that used? Heritage trees. And I had my concerns to staff early on. Is there an option for the developer to be able to relocate some of the bigger trees that would survive a move? You know, everyone's seen the core tree process, and maybe that's a part of saving those trees in the part of the development process. If they are savable, you could relocate them to somewhere else, if not on our parcel itself. And I was hoping that we would see some sort of relocation plan, some sort of plan for these trees as a part of this development. I was also disappointed to see that the cross-access agreement wasn't completed as was requested last time, to be able to come before us again. And once again, that we did not get, because of software, better elevations for the proposed houses. And personally, I do like Evelyn's Gate. I think it's very unique. I think we need more houses that are ranches that are, beautiful. Adjacent to 159th Street, I'd have to say, it's not a desirable location for residential, but there's a lot of residential adjacent to 159th Street, and it works. Some people like it, and I like the concept. I don't know moving forward if it's too much to ask for as a part of this PUD, but those are a couple of my thoughts that I had initially. Open it up to the rest of the...
This is what you were looking for, the numbers?
Yes, yeah, the cost for significant trees, saving 753 inches of significant trees, which is substantial, and then removing 1,237 inches of significant trees. So you figure a 4-inch tree is a big starter tree. Multiply that down, that's a lot of inches to go away. And the restitution for that many inches is only $36,000. I don't feel that that's incentive to save significant trees, personally, from our code. I was really surprised that the numbers weren't much, much higher. And then the protected trees are more reasonable, 52 inches, $13,000. That seems to be more of a hit to cause a developer to work around the trees to make more of them happen, as opposed to, we might lose a little bit of a value. I mean, and I don't doubt that these houses wouldn't go for $200-300 a square foot. I've seen it all through this area in worse locations on smaller lots. VJ has an exhibit. I don't know if that was something you were going to put up, but there are houses in this immediate area within 10 miles of us on the expressway going for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 that are literal tract houses that aren't as attractive as Evelyn's Gate. And so I think the value's there. Homer Glen does bring a lot of value. Personally, I'm not a real estate agent. I don't personally think the values of the houses behind it will go down. People are looking to spend a lot of money for new houses that are smaller, ranch style, and are beautiful. We see this all over. So those are a couple of my statements. If anyone else has
I'd
anything.
just like to echo both Lynn and Brian's thing. I actually like Evelyn's Gate a lot. I think it's a very nice subdivision. I think there are a lot of things that they're asking for, so I am not sure, but just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
If I can, Brian, just a question. I mean, earlier you said before this can go to the board, they have to have that cross-section agreement. I mean, at this point, I mean, would we even want to consider anything? I mean, I don't even know if the doctor sounded like he wanted to get into an agreement this evening. So, I mean, I guess that's the biggest concern right now. I mean, he needs the developer, in order to make this happen.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's something that you can be bought into the parcel. It can be given as a part of, this access. I'm obviously not an attorney. Our attorney would be able to speak better towards what could be done to get cross-access agreement for this parcel, whether it be donated one side and then be left for the other side for the doctor to go into that agreement, or what. But yeah, that was something that was supposed to be in place. I am also hesitant to do any sort of approval, knowing that it couldn't go to the village board. It would stop here, even if we do recommend it or recommend it with conditions. It would not be able to go to the village board without that in place. So that's a big unknown, and also the other things that were just not addressed. Thank you.
My issue is with the density. I still feel if we cross that road, we're not going to be able to cross back. That's my big concern. These trees, I walked it the other day with my dog, and one of them come back with a whole bunch of ticks, but that's another story. A lot of these trees that are there are older than anybody in this room. Right. And the reason why we all moved out here. And I would really hate to see that go. That's what I have.
Can I, one more thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Dr. Glen's comment on even staff taking this, or want to put this right,
Sure.
letting a subdivision like this get started, and for Mr. Catchy to be spending this money.
Yeah.
I would think that in your position, when somebody comes to you with a proposal, you have to stay pretty neutral. Would I be going down the right road? Or would you advise somebody, this is going to fly here, or this is not going to fly here?
So what we do typically with, as we're doing with several other projects in the pipeline, we try to get a concept, poll the trustees to get some direction, initial direction, before we actually take in the application. In this case, the developer chose to move forward with the application.
Okay, thank you.
So that didn't necessarily come, with eyes on and recommendations from village board.
No.
No, just came to us first.
I've got a couple of concerns too. I'm really concerned about augering the electric lines through the root zones of all those trees back there. This is what the plans are calling for. So almost every one of the houses from lot 2 to 10 would have a trench from the electric main is back there. And to go through the root zone, all they can do is auger, but you're still augering right through a root zone, okay? There's going to be a sewer back there, concerned about that. be a lot of digging back there, so trying to save the trees, yes. But will we really save them in the end? Tom?
We've relocated all the storm sewers out of the tree area, and the new program with Commonwealth Edison going forward, I believe the beginning of this year, any new subdivisions that come online, they're putting the electrical in the front. So there will not be electrical pedestals in the backyards. We've cleaned out the backyards that there's really nothing back there.
That's very helpful. So what's shown on these plans, they're showing the transformers, I think, for the houses behind there.
Those are the existing transformers, correct.
So ComEds will be in the front of the houses.
The new lines for our development would be,
Comment is in front of the houses in Amberfield.
And the other concern I have is there's just no open space, you know. The only open space is hidden by the houses on lot 12 and 13. The pond, retention area. It just, you've got a very narrow street, you've got a retaining wall on one side, down at the end. Sidewalk right off the curb, and then a 25-foot driveway, which, you know, Chevy Suburban will barely fit in. And I know this, Homer Glen could use housing like this, and I know they were going to sell. Like Brian's been saying, there's a lot of, not just in Homer Glen, but all around the south suburbs. People will buy a well-built house, a good-looking house in iffy locations. The other thing I wanted to point out was, I think the doctor mentioned where the street doesn't really line up with the opening and the median, but you might be looking at that old driveway now, which doesn't.
yeah, it's my understanding that when IDOT built those islands, they built them with the street being located where we put it.
So it lines up here.
It
What
looks like the
concerns-
one on the west is a little bit closer than the one on the right, which I'm thinking just, you know, my brain working. You know, maybe a right out, you know, a person turning right doesn't need as big of a radius or a space. So the guy that's coming west on 159th Street needs more turning area than a guy turning left out of the subdivision, if that makes any sense.
Yes, looking at page 3 of 5 on the plans. So the cross-access, that's going to be the only access from that commercial property because there's a retention area in between.
No.
Correct?
The commercial property that Dr. Glen has already has access to 159th Street, and that would, his development, I assume, I don't know what he's going to do, but I assume is going to be a continuation of his existing. So you'll be able to drive in from the existing curb cuts on 159th Street to where he's getting service now at his next building or two, whatever he builds.
Yeah.
If you're coming westbound and turning in, you need to.
Access onto my property, it's 900 feet long, and I don't have access onto my own property. The access to my property comes through Sherry Law, and we have a cross-access agreement. When I built my property, I paid to have her driveway, her cuts, and the INF cuts put in. I paid for it, but it's her property. On the plan that I have, that will probably have to go back to IDOT review. We have a right in, right out in the center of my property where the middle building is proposed to be.
So on your property, there's there's a retention area in the middle of that? Okay, so no buildings there.
There's a building to the east of it, the same size
Yeah.
as the current building, that was approved 7,000 square feet. The building to the far east, up next to this property, with a small parking lot that will hold 20 cars, is right behind lot 1, right in that corner. So to my own property, I really only will have a right in, right out. That's why this cross-access easement is so important. Because any
anybody coming into my property will have to go out and make a U-turn.
That's exactly what I'm looking at too.
3 or 4 years, the other buildings are there, you know, who's how many cars are going to have to turn left to go into my commercial development? Is that 100? Is it 200? That are going to have to come through this entrance a day? Nobody knows.
Okay. Anyone else? Does someone want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Are we closing it?
Well, we can make a motion and see. So we could make a motion, close the public hearing, and make a ruling. We can postpone it to see if anything comes back. It's been over a month. We haven't seen anything. I don't know if necessarily anything will change. I don't know if there's anything else that the public would say that hasn't already been said very well. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
First by Commissioner McGarry, second by Commissioner Hand. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed.
Can I question that? Because I don't understand. So then the board,
We're going to make a ruling now. We're going to do it right now. Is there a motion for approval, approval with conditions, or denial of the variance?
Okay, since there's nothing written down, it's as simple as that.
Yep.
Actually, you can read the title on the page 1 of the staff memo. The title has all the motion you want to read.
If I might make a statement.
Brian, Tom has
Right.
a comment. Tom,
Okay, I understand.
Tom, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could continue, don't make a motion yet, give me to the next meeting to get the deal worked out with Dr. Glen and...
We already made a motion, and it's been approved, and we closed the public hearing.
Public hearing, right. Not the Plan Commission report.
Yeah, like I said, we're just a recommending body,
Okay.
so it'll still have to go before the village board. Those things will still have to be addressed, but we're about to make a motion right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, Chairman, I think Tom's question is, would you like to have him come back with certain changes, or are you just making a motion outright?
I think we're going to make a motion.
All right.
I don't know how to word it.
Well, you could take a moment and write it out if you like.
Yeah. No, it's actually, you can read the title on page 1 of the staff memo. That's pretty much the language for the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got that. Okay. I move to adopt staff's findings as the findings of the Plan Commission and to recommend denial of the following variant of the following requests. 1, a preliminary plat of subdivision. 2, a map amendment from A1 agricultural to R3A single-family residential district. 3, special use for a planned unit development with certain exceptions. And 4, site improvement plans with certain modifications for the proposed Seven Oaks subdivision located at 12361 West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois. Is that okay, Melissa? Okay.
So we have a motion of denial. Is there a second to approve the denial.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Stanley. Gia, could you call the roll?
Members Rebchen,
Yes.
Member Foley,
Yes.
Member McGarry,
Yes.
Member Stanley,
Yes.
Member Hand,
Yes.
Chairman Kozer.
Yes. So there's a couple options on the table. You could go to the village board once you have the cross-access agreement and you have the elevations proposed and go before them. You can come back to us at a later date after a public hearing has been advertised with a different plan. Those are a couple of the options. Is there any other options that they would have, Melissa, BJ?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say the second option was, Brian?
Come back with a different plan?
New public hearing. With a new plan, new public hearing.
So essentially a new case or an amendment to this case?
So, would Tom need to withdraw this petition then?
That would
When he
be,
gets denied? Because I think if he gets, do you know what I mean? I think there's
Sure.
some restrictions in the code
Yeah.
about bringing forth another request, a new request.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if you get denied by the board. I think the code, we'd have to look at the code.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's an option, though.
So work with staff to see what your options are moving forward for this proposal. Is there a village board meeting that this would go before if he chooses to do that? I mean, I know he's got those other things to address first.
Yeah, so I know August 11th is too close. You're looking at August 25th.
Okay.
Is the next available.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.